first file that I made that now I'm altering is I came in here into VCarve and I measured how my slab was going to look. So it's about 51 inches long by 18 inches wide right in the middle. And then it kind of tapers down to about 9 or 10 inches on either side. A little bit fat over there so you can kind of see my oblong shaped oval.
So you're taking a circular route.
Kind of taking this concentric route. I looked at the tool path time and where you can choose offset or a raster effect. And it was faster to go raster. So on a pretty slow, this is, you know, an hour type of cut, I want to go as fast as I possibly can.
Sure, yeah.
So I went with this, but I have a high spot at 2 3/4 and then a low spot at 2. But there's only about a 8 by 23 inch chunk kind of right in this area that is at that 2 3, right in this area, right?
Okay.
At the 2 3/4, most of the slab is under 2 1/2. So it's kind of a huge waste to keep doing in a bunch of area and where you're not going to remove a lot of material.
Is your high spot here or up here?
It is, let's see, so that's oriented, it's actually up here.
Up there, okay, all right. So
yeah,
this is the, okay.
Yeah. So it's just up there. So I just made a new file for it just to take that first kind of quarter or fifth of the slab and surface that to 2 1/2. Okay. And then I'll re-evaluate this file and probably start it at 2 1/2 and then do it. And honestly probably save 20 minutes of cut time.
What kind of bit do you use for this?
Should
I wait until you get to that?
2-inch surfacing bit.
Okay, so
and I'll show it to you. Yeah.
Is it like a Forstner type flat? Okay, or it is, yeah.
2-inch surfacing bit right here. There's two, it's just a Whiteside, nothing super tricky. It's a $50 bit on Amazon. Okay. And so kind of hogs out material. You can get real fancy, those can cost $200.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm gonna go save this and get this thing fired up.
Cool. So what kind of wood is this?
This is walnut. Okay. And the reason I'm surfacing it on the CNC machine is because since this weird angle, weird size and weird shape and everything, it's just kind of easier to take care of on here.
Versus like a tray or?
Versus doing something like, yeah, using like a hand router and go back and forth, the kind of jig setup and everything. It probably takes a similar amount of time, but instead of letting the machine do it, you're doing all of it, getting dirty. And I have a 4-inch. Well, I'm still doing the kind of raster effect, so it's going to go around here. So I still have like a 4-inch ramp into it. All of this with this giant bit on there, you got to go slow. You got to be safe with this whole thing. Yeah. So ramps, all of that kind of safety, going slow is really, really important for this.
Is your 0 at the head of the spoil board? Is that what you're measuring off of there? Or?
So this is my X and Y 0 right there.
Oh, okay.
So I just measured 23 inches this way. I basically took a rough measurement of what I thought my real high spot was. And since its widest point is over here instead of here, I thought it was easier to make the X and Y 0 point here to where I can find the edge and just do the 8 by 23 inch section over here.
Cool.
This might not touch right here, Zach. I definitely made sure it's just skimming the top, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so this is 0.055 inches per pass, which is how much the planer can take off.
So on each of these passes, is it, raising and then dropping? Is it?
Yeah, so it's starting its like 3rd or 4th pass now.
Okay.
Now we're getting it. This is an 11-minute file.
So technically, if you mismeasured, there could be parts of this later on that are higher than what you ultimately end up here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the hope that...
But like, so you know how I started this pass and it like barely near the top?
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna have for the next pass too. Basically be set at 2.5 inches, even though I know that that's a little bit higher than, and one run full pass. and I take off the same amount of material as the planer takes off per pass, which is 0.055 inches.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you. What's the kind of limit of your?
Yeah, I mean, and we were just talking about that. 1/16 of an inch is what it would be really nice to be able to take off, but that's where you start flirting with too much.
Okay.
And this is going pretty slow too, so.
So each drop is 0.055?
Yeah, each drop is 0.055. Yeah.
What does a 1/16 of an inch equal?
0.0625.
625, okay. So not much difference, huh?
Not huge, it's basically right in between a 32nd of an inch and a 16th.
Okay.
But, so yeah, that did a lot less than I thought it was gonna do. Yeah. So now that puts my highest point at 2.5 inches. So hopefully that at least saves some time. So that detour, which was 11 minutes on the file, saved me 6 passes. Saved about 20 minutes saved me 20 minutes on an 11-minute file. So kind of worth doing. And obviously I went a little conservative there.
Yeah.
I still am. But now we're gonna do the whole entire thing and have it run passes. And so on this one, I'm measuring from kind of the midpoint to the edge of my square so that I can basically find the midpoint there, find 9 inches over to the edge, and be able to set my X and Y that way. So this is what makes it a little tricky about finding your X and Y datums. Just like the last one, in which the first cut barely nicked it, that's pretty much gonna happen here.
Oh really? In the same area or all over?
Kind of all over. This is still my high point here.
Okay.
Are you at the starting height of where that one finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's still my high point by probably give or take 1/8 of an inch. So this is gonna run very similarly to the last one. And it's just, I would rather run an extra pass than have the machine bog down and do anything kind of bad, hurt my bit. That's the easiest way to destroy a bit and waste more time is by messing up. So this will nick that top area, and
How many passes? Like
it's 9 passes. Just carving out that little section saved 6 passes worth of material that would have just done this area and saved about 25 minutes. I mean, it's really easy. All you're doing is working with shapes here. So like, especially for this one, I knew I had a big oval, but then what I could do, I had this big oval, and then only this maybe 1/5 of the area was raised up to 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
So I have my big oval to work with, and then I can break off that oval into a small rectangle over there, or you could even do a small oval into that area, solve that problem, and then I could have cut the slab in half because this side's even taller than back there. So I could have cut the slab in half again and only done this half of the oval and then attack that smaller half and go step by step. But instead of making 3 files and doing that, I'm just gonna run 2 files that are somewhat faithful, as you can see how far away it is. But
So did you have to measure this slab like perfectly? And how did you do that?
so I measure the slab really, really close. I would say carpenter perfect, to where if you're off by 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch, it's not a big deal. And then I add an additional about 1/2 inch on either side, just because it's really tough to find your X and Y datum on something that doesn't have a corner or an edge or something like that. So I basically measured off my X and Y datum is right here, which should be the very edge of there, all the way coming to here to essentially a rectangle around this. Yeah, so my plan is right in this section right here, even though it's going to be beautiful, is actually cut this oval out and put a bonsai tree right in the middle of it, so it'll just be a bonsai growing outside my coffee table.
The diameter of that bit's 2 inches?
2 inches.
And so what are your passes? Like what's the width of it? Are you overlapping some, I assume?
Yeah, about an 80% step over, so 20% overlap.
So it should take this part here off for the next pass?
Yeah, it'll take this next section right here. this side, you can see how much it's actually going to be removing right here. So this is its second to last pass on here. It'll come up, clean up this edge, and then it's restarting from the middle. So you can start to see we're really going to be attacking this by next pass. Yeah, so now you're starting to get it.